Morning to everyone.
Morning,
Good
Laura.
morning, Miss Dowrich.
Laura, how is that wonderful island of Turks and Caicos?
It is beautiful. It is hot. But I just want to say that police officer is my friend Zakia, and she's an awesome person.
Really?
Yes,
You
She's
must send
naturally
your
a good
number for Paul.
person.
We'll give her
she
a call.
is. She is.
That's what I thought. She has to be naturally a nice person.
She is very nice.
Good to
Laura
hear.
is the public relations manager of Experience Turks and Caicos. Laura was what were you at
At Loop,
Loop
I was
before?
the lifestyle and cultural affairs manager.
No, I posted this on social media already. And there's news and there's entertainment news in Trinidad and Tobago. And I think Laura Dowrich Phillips has, because of the work she'd done over the years, revolutionized and in a lot of ways to me legitimized entertainment news coverage in Trinidad and Tobago. And for that, I think she must be commended.
Thank
Right,
you,
Laura?
Paul. Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
So she took a leap of faith a year ago, and she decided after how many years at Digital Loop?
I was at Loop 9 years, but I was in media total of 27 years. Started at the Trinidad Guardian. Yes.
Decided that she wanted to make a change. It got an offer and decided to go to Turks and Caicos to become the PR manager for Experience Turks and Caicos. Was it a frightening move for you?
Extremely. Extremely. I mean, listen, journalism is my number one love. I loved it, loved it, loved it. It was my passion. I never thought I would do anything else. And just the idea of doing something completely different was scary. Leaving Trinidad was scary. My kids are still in Trinidad. Being here alone was scary. The first night I got here, I almost ran right back to the airport. I was like, what are you doing? This is insane. But yeah, it was scary. But sometimes you just have to do it afraid, right?
Yeah.
Yep,
absolutely.
I
How
actually
is it?
thought.
How is it different there to, of course,
Oh.
spending all your life in Trinidad and Tobago? What's it like there?
It's vastly different. Turks is obviously, it's a smaller country, smaller population. It's a pretty large archipelago, it's 40 islands and keys, but the only 8 islands are inhabited and the population is very small. So it's much quieter than Trinidad. Something I actually wanted. I wanted quiet. Trinidad sometimes feels like a crazy carousel that you just need to jump off of sometimes and catch your breath. I felt I reached a point where I needed to catch my breath. So Turks is very, very quiet. There is no traffic. They complain about traffic. I'm like, guys, this is not traffic. You'll see. I could reach to work and not hear a whole song. So there's no traffic.
I'm
What's the
curious,
population like?
Mrs. Phillips. How do you get to the Turks and Caicos from here?
The best route is through Miami. There's no direct flight. I keep watching Carl launch all these direct flights, and I'm like, when are you coming to Turks? There are no direct flights. So you can go through Miami, or you can take the long route and go through fly Inter-Caribbean, a combination of Inter-Caribbean and Carl through the islands.
Okay. So you don't necessarily, because through Miami, you have to have a US visa.
Yes.
Okay.
But you could always probably fly to the Bahamas and then take a flight from Bahamas to here, or you could fly to Antigua or Jamaica and then take a flight across.
Okay.
What's the population there?
It's about just under 50,000.
Wow.
So it's
Looks
pretty
like a
small.
Rima.
Yeah, it's pretty small, very quiet. And let me tell you, because I covered entertainment, I know how vibrant Trinidad is, but really and truly looking at Trinidad from here, man, I'm like, how the hell I used to do this? Trinidad just does not stop. It's constant. It's constant.
Never settles.
I don't even know if we appreciate how vibrant we really are.
Yeah. Now, Turks and Caicos is pretty much a busy hub when it comes to cruise ships as well. How many passengers you say come on an annual basis into Turks and Caicos? Because I've been to Turks and Caicos through a cruise ship and went on a couple of cruises, and I loved it.
Well, on an annual basis, we do over 1 million cruise passengers. The cruise port is in Grand Turk. The cruise port is managed by Carnival Corporation, and we get Carnival ships. We get
Royal Caribbean.
Royal Caribbean just started.
Is 1 million you're saying?
Yeah. And there's no cruise season. We get cruise ships all year long.
Yeah.
But again, its location is pivotal in that.
Yeah. It's And it's just pretty. It's safe. The cruise port is really nice. It's a big cruise center, really nice. There are stores and shops
Huge.
and bars
Yeah.
and stuff. You know.
But I wanted you on, or we wanted you on because I mean you've lived in Trinidad and Tobago all your life. You've promoted the culture and the beautiful aspects of Trinidad and Tobago, and it's a good comparison. I think you're in a position now to make between what Turks and Caicos is doing and what we can do in Trinidad and Tobago. What do you think is the reason that they've been able to be so successful in attracting that level of cruise ship activity and also tourism in that jurisdiction? I mean, it's the totally different economies. We understand that, but what do you think they've done correctly?
So here's the thing. Turks and Caicos economy is completely dependent on tourism. That is the major thing compared to Trinidad. It is completely dependent on tourism. So there's no choice but to do it right. And also we have a niche. We don't do mass tourism because the island is small. And because it's the main thing that we depend on, having a niche allows us to, just maximize the earnings. So our niche is luxury tourism. We cater to that affluent, high-end traveler. So that's why you see people who have no issues spending $60,000 for a week just to stay at a resort, or even more. It's a destination that attracts a lot of celebrities. Beyonce was recently here. The Kardashians are always here. Drake literally lives here. So we cater to that high-end audience. So there's a niche. And, just also proximity. We're really, really close to the US. It takes an hour and a half from Miami, 2.5 hours from New York. There are direct flights coming from the UK, from Canada. Most of the major airlines fly here, so accessibility is key. That airlift is very, very key. And yeah, that is what that. And listen, honestly, I've traveled the length and breadth of the Caribbean. Literally the most beautiful beaches in the world, unparalleled.
But to attract that niche, what structures are in place in Turks and Caicos? Because you have to, they don't just come just like that. They come because once it's a luxury niche. So there's a certain expectation for things to be in place. What kinds of infrastructure or of services are offered for that particular niche?
Well, first of all, let's start with the accommodation, because that is key for people who want to spend money. Accommodation is key. The resorts here are very high end and they cater to that market. Some of the most beautiful resorts that we are now part of the Virtuoso luxury family. Virtuoso is a luxury platform, a platform of luxury advisors that sell to that audience. So we are part of the Virtuoso family. We have about 8 Virtuoso properties, very, very high end. There are a lot of luxuries because we offer luxury products. So the customer service is good. You have a lot of services. You have pick up and drop offs at airport, very luxury transportation. And also there's a sense of safety. This destination attracts a lot of repeat visitors. I met a couple the other day at the beach. They've been coming here for 7 years, took a break when they had their baby last year, brought the baby back with them this year. And they said to me that they feel safe here. So they come all the time. They don't feel like they have to look over their shoulders. And it just offers them that category of traveler. What they're looking for is peace. They're looking for relaxation. They're looking for exclusivity. They just want to relax. And
are they all-inclusive resorts? It's all-inclusive resorts? It's all-inclusive resorts?
No, they're only 2 all-inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no sandals there, is there?
There's the beaches. Yes.
Oh, there's a beaches. So that's the family one, right?
The family resort.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Most of the resorts cater to families because our market is also multi-generational. But beaches is for big family resort.
What's the food like, Mrs. Phillips?
A lot of seafood, which I don't eat, would you believe?
I thought so,
Punks.
I ride up there with you, don't worry.
We're in lobster season right now. So it's conch, lobster, fish, a lot of seafood, shrimp, crab.
No.
You spoke about crime. What kind of crime is there in Turks and Caicos?
There's crime like everywhere. There is crime. Usually it's located in specific areas. You find where there's a lot of illegal migration from Haiti and Jamaica, the DR. So you find like in those settlements you will have crime happening, you have murders and stuff happening, but it's not pervasive. It's literally located to those specific areas and among people who probably know each other, gangs, that kind of thing. But it's not widespread, and you feel very safe here. I mean, it took me a while to relax because, coming from Trinidad, I think everybody in Trinidad have PTSD or go away and they're looking over your shoulder all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it took me a few weeks to just relax and reach a point where I was going to the supermarket and not even locking the car door. And I'm like, who am I? What's going on here? But yeah, there is crime, but there is a sense of safety. You do feel comfortable.
Well, we know for sure they have very good internet because we haven't interviewed someone with as clear and concise even visuals and audio as you have.
Don't jinx it, Wendell. Don't jinx it.
Oh gosh. Sorry.
What is the level up with that niche market? What kind of training goes into the service industry? Because if you're catering to a niche luxury market, they have an expectation of 5-star service delivery. What's that like?
Yes, good question. There's a program here that I am very impressed with. It's called TIDES. I'm trying to remember the acronym. But it's a program that every single person in the hospitality sector has to do. I had to do it. And when you pass the exam, you get an ambassador card. So you become an ambassador for the island. And basically what the program is, it's a one-day training course that teaches you about the history of the Turks and Caicos Islands. It teaches you the importance of customer service. The idea is that everybody in hospitality must be on the same page when it comes to talking about the Turks and Caicos Islands. You must know the history. There are so many people from all over the world working in the hospitality sector here that it is important when a visitor asks a question, whether it is from a taxi driver, whether it is from a front desk staff, whether it's from somebody like me, that everybody knows the answer and everybody's on the same page. And more importantly, it is literally tied into you getting your business license. So you don't have a choice but to do it. In order for you to be licensed to offer a service or to work in the hospitality sector, you need to do this training, you need to pass the exam, and the certification lasts for about 2 years. And it's something I absolutely love because it sets a minimum standard for the way everybody operates in the hospitality sector.
Yeah, but you also talked about general customer service in terms of where people go around the island to stores and bars and restaurants and stuff. Would they all be taking that course, or is it that they're all trained in a different way in terms of customer service? Because tourism is the main industry here, everything is pretty much tied into tourism. So once you work in the tourism or work for the tourism industry, you have to do it. But because everybody's so aware of the importance of the tourism industry here, you find that the individual companies will do their training, but there's a sense among the people here that this is very important. So giving the best service is priority for them. It's literally their bread and butter,
We're a different market completely to them. We're a different location. I'm going to put aside the crime thing for a while because we know that's a big issue here. What do you think we can learn based on your unique perspective now of having lived and worked in Trinidad and Tobago all your life and now having a year under your belt in that sort of market? What do you think are the opportunities, one, for Tobago and two, Trinidad and Tobago, given what we can offer?
The thing is, I've always said this for years, and Trinidad and Tobago collectively, there are very few categories in tourism that we cannot compete in. Very few. Festivals, culinary. Everybody in the Caribbean calls themselves the culinary capital. But if Trinidad was really serious about pushing that, nobody could come first. So food, festivals, music, heritage, ecotourism, Tobago for the sea, sun, and sand. There's so many, the meetings category, there's so many categories of tourism that we can really compete in and be successful at. I always say Trinidad cannot compete with sun, sea, and sand. Nobody's going to leave all these islands in the North Caribbean with their beautiful beaches to come all the way down to Trinidad for a beach. Trinidad has so much more that we can offer. And I think one of the first things I would love to see us do is really define what we want to be known for. Yes, we place so much emphasis on Carnival, but Trinidad is so much more than Carnival.
Lyman, Richard has been saying it. What's that famous actress name who said it in an interview? Lyman. That's what we do best.
Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah. Lyman. That's what we do best.
So you think we need to define the experience more clearly?
We need to define what do we want to be known for. And like I said, looking at Trinidad from afar, we are so vibrant. That is something we can sell. We are literally, I think at one point, Tourism Trinidad had a slogan saying that we always open. We are literally always open. When do we sleep? We don't sleep in Trinidad, nothing to close. So we need to define who we want, what we want to be known as, and then what are the products we want to sell. We don't really have to create anything, you know. We just have to know how to market it, package it, and sell it. And that's what I would love to see us do. And also understand that tourism is an investment. You have to spend a lot of money on this product. Crime is an issue, yes, but crime is an issue throughout the Caribbean. And I remember asking one of these questions when I was still a journalist in one of these tourism areas. I asked if they were worried about crime, and they said to me that it has not impacted the tourism industry around the Caribbean because tourists are not the ones being victims of crime generally. Yeah. So the tourism in the Caribbean is thriving, even though a lot of islands are grappling with rising crime.
Like Jamaica. Jamaica is a classic example.
Yes. Almost every island in the Caribbean have already surpassed their 2019 figures. And 2019 was a benchmark for the Caribbean. That was the highest arrival figures. Most countries have already surpassed those figures. We have already surpassed those figures. We from January to August, we had about probably 1.3 million arrivals, both air and cruise already. We've surpassed 2023 a long time ago.
So you say any population of Trinidad visited Turks and Caicos for the year thus far?
Listen, the amount of Trinis here, working and living here, it's amazing. The amount of Trinis.
Well, that's great. What do you think infrastructure, so you define that we need to define ourselves more clearly. Yes. What do you think infrastructurally is missing?
I think we need a proper public transportation system.
So do we.
Yeah. The thing is, Turks and Caicos doesn't have a public transportation system. So when you come here, you either rent a taxi, a VIP taxi, or you rent a car, and that's how you move around. Trinidad is so big, and many times, you know, people visit me and I don't know how they want to travel. People like to move around on their own. When you travel, they like to be able to move around on your own. And I don't even know how to begin to explain, well, this is where you go to get a taxi, or this is where you go to get a maxi, or, you know, it's so arbitrary, but we know it because we live it. So
this taxi is safe, or this maxi is safe.
Exactly. So we do need a proper public transportation system that people could move around. I think we need, I don't know what's the situation with maps and what we have online, but people need to be able to navigate around the country. Again, there are solo travelers, there are people who just like to come and find their way. We see a lot of influencers coming to Trinidad and finding their way. And sometimes I wonder, do you know where you're going? What if you end up in the wrong spot? Proper signage on trails. I have a lot of friends who hike and there isn't proper signage sometimes in the trails that they go to. So they're just those little things that we need to do. But I also think, Paul, we need to get the whole population. Tourism is not just one person. It's not an agency. It's the entire country. And I think that is something we need to start selling to the population. It's not about servitude or submission. It's about how we sell our country, and just everyday interactions with the population is how we sell our country too, right? So we need to Yes?
Yeah. Sorry. What about the transition through the airport? Is it friendly? Is it welcoming? Is it smooth? Is it quick?
In Trinidad?
No, in Turks and Caicos.
Yes, it is pretty smooth. It is pretty smooth and quick. I mean, the airport is very small, and it really has outgrown the numbers that we do here. I'm like literally on one Saturday in peak, March is the peak month, we had like 10,000 people passing through the airport on one Saturday alone. So in peak season, the airport is not adequate enough to accommodate the crowds, but they're doing a lot of expansion, and there's a new airport that will be built soon in the next few years to accommodate the crowds. So, but right now, yes, it is. There are things that you can do if you don't want to stand up in a long line. If there are multiple flights landing at the same time, you can buy like a fast track service that they will meet you at the gate and walk you through immigration, and it's pretty smooth.
What is the political climate like there in Turks and Caicos?
Well, like Trinidad, like a lot of countries in the Caribbean, there will be an election next year. So elections is in the air. So it is very politically charged right now. Very.
Okay. Not divisive though.
Not really. I mean, obviously you have opposition, you know, and the incumbents, you know, knocking heads over various issues, but not divisive.
Okay.
What are the low-hanging fruits? I mean, do you see Tobago as, I'm saying low-hanging fruit in terms of accessibility and things that we can do immediately and make some gains? Do you think, are there low-hanging fruit that you see with some sort of focus that we can get? I know there's been an increase in cruise ships to Trinidad. There's the issue last year in Tobago when the cruise ship went there, which didn't look good for Tobago. But what do you see as Tobago's potential as separate from Trinidad, if you care to separate them at all?
I really wish we don't separate them, but I understand why we do. I think Trinidad and Tobago together is a great package. Tobago has what we don't have. We have what Tobago does not have. So it's a good 2-for-1. But Tobago on its own could really be. I mean, a lot of people describe Tobago as the last unspoiled island in the Caribbean. It really, really is. I mean, you have Dominica, which is also unspoiled, but Tobago really is still. It's not overdeveloped. It's still very quaint. A lot of culture and heritage is still very much intact. I would just like to see them focus on a market. Tobago could easily focus on a niche market like luxury tourism, but they need to get the accommodation in place, because travelers do want good 5-star, 4-star accommodation, and they need to just really just market. I think Tobago just needs to really market itself, even now without the proper accommodation and stuff. It just needs to market itself. It's still such a surprise for a lot of people. And I deal with travel advisors all the time, right? That is a key thing in tourism. We deal with travel advisors all the time. And when people ask me where I'm from, the first thing they say is, oh, I don't know there. What is that?
Really? Still?
Yes. A lot of people don't, and travel advisors are the ones selling these destinations, right? They're very important. And a lot of them still don't.
But for years now, we've heard, no matter who is in power, that these people in the tourism ministry and TITCO and whatever else agency come around. They travel to the World Tourism Conferences, and people are still asking, who is, you have to actually reference Brian Lara is from there, or Dwight York is from there to give a reference, and then they understand where it is. We still have that marketing and brand presence issue.
Here's the thing, Paul, and this is one thing I love about tourism. It reminds me so much of media. It is not static. It is constantly changing, constantly evolving, and you constantly have to do the work. There was a time, yes, we were very active with all the shows, the conferences, we were doing a lot of marketing, but we fell off. And if you don't do the work, the world moves on. You have to constantly do the work. You have to constantly be present. You have to constantly have a presence at these events. You have to constantly be marketing. You have to have a constant presence in the international media. You have to constantly be working with advisors. We do a lot of training with our travel advisors. Even though they sell luxury, we still do a lot of training with them to educate them on the product. What are we selling? What is our angle? What are we pushing? We do a lot of training with them, because they now have to turn around and sell this destination. So if we in Trinidad and Tobago aren't doing that, then the world will just move on.
As successful as Turks and Caicos is, they don't take it for granted, and they're constantly working on not only improving their product, but the sale of their product.
You have to, because everybody else is doing it. This tourism is a highly competitive industry. We are competing with other islands in the Caribbean who go after luxury market. You're competing for airlift, you're competing for tourist dollars, we constantly competing. And you have to do the work. So like right now, the winter season is about to start. We are out there pushing. We are at all the trade shows. We pushing. I'm dealing with a lot of international media, booking media buys, all these things, because you have to stay top of mind. We are the top premium class destination in the Caribbean. That is not something you can't rest on your laurels. You have to keep fighting to keep that position, because everybody else coming up.
It seems very clear from what you're saying, Laura, that Turks and Caicos is very clear on what their brand is and how to market and constantly, I suppose, even adapt when necessary, but keeping on message of what their brand is. Are we clear on what brand Trinidad and Tobago is? Because sometimes I'm not so sure that the tourism officials know what it is, because sometimes you hear festival tourism, then you hear nature tourism, you hear Tobago is something else, So are we coherent enough in terms of our marketing?
I don't think so. That is why I said we need to determine what we want the country to be known for. We need to start there. The government needs to start there. I heard Carmen talking about sports tourism, and that's wonderful. We have, like I said, there's so many categories that Trinidad could compete in. We don't have to choose one or the other, but we just need to decide what we want to be known for. And that message changes. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be the same message for a million years. You can decide this year we want to be known for, okay, we want to push sports tourism, we want to be known as a place where we welcome the whole sporting world here. Fine. That could be a message for 2 years. And then in 2 years' time, you change it. In Turks and Caicos, the messaging before, the slogan is beautiful by nature, and it was all about promoting nature and promoting Providencialis, where I am located. Now the message is that we're a multi-island destination because it's 8 inhabited islands that we have. So our message now, we're a multi-island destination, and we want people not to come just to come to Provo, but go to the other islands and experience what the other islands have to offer, because we want everybody to benefit from the tourism industry. So we just need to decide in this moment, what do we want to be known as, and what are the products now that support that message that we want to put out there, and then just market that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll probably try Turks and Caicos one of these days.
Yes.
You know what? We should do a show there.
Yes, you should.
For a week, Turks and Caicos.
Yes, you should come. Let me know. Send me a proposal. But also work with all your money because we're not cheap.
Paul will take care of it first, because we only allow $240 every visit.
Yeah, we are luxury destination, gentlemen.
You don't have your accommodation, we'll walk in some spending.
Laura, are there opportunities for local artists and thespians like what he named up there to come and take advantage of the tourist market that you have there? Do you see that kind of potential? Is the entertainment sector there welcoming in that way?
I think there would be. I think there are a lot of opportunities like for collaboration. It will have to be very collaborative, of course, because there's a theater company here. They've put on a couple productions. There are a lot of artists here. The music here is rake and scrape music, very similar to that of the Bahamas, because in at one point Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas were administratively the same country. So the culture is very similar. So they're rake and scrape. That is their genre of music, and they use they use a lot of saws, and you know how we have our engine room with the grater and all those things. They use those.
Is it like Junkanoo?
It is Junkanoo. It's called rake and scrape. That's the music that they play at Junk. It's called rake and scrape. Okay. So yeah, so they and the music, I love it. It reminds me of long time calypso. It's very heavy with storytelling, but they love soca music here. I hear so much soca here. We've had artists come. We had Nadia Batsna, Mikal, Tasia here recently. We had Patrice. Soca artists are always here. They do a lot of soca shows. They play soca music all the time, dance all the time. So they're very big on Caribbean culture. So yes, I think there's opportunity for collaboration, definitely, and to come and just come and check out the vibes and see what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. How does the government, or should I say the Ministry of Tourism, embrace technology in getting people into Turks and Caicos?
Oh, over here?
Yeah.
Okay, so that will be us experience Turks and Caicos, right? We are the DMO for the islands, the Destination Management Organization. We replace the tourist board, so that'll be us. Right now, let me just preface this by saying Experience Turks and Caicos is a year old. They dissolved the tourist board and created this new entity to do. We have a wider mandate than what the tourist board would have had. So we are a new entity, and we're in the process right now of redoing our website, where we could do.
Here at Life Occupational Therapy, with 3 lucky patrons of the True Talk No Lie production.
Okay, somebody is playing something.
Okay.
It's very loud.
Okay, yes, it is. Yeah, I was saying, so we are now in the process of doing our overall website, which will incorporate a lot of AI and other bits of technology to allow for people to book directly and do those sorts of things on our website. One of the things we really do, we have invested a lot in, is data collection. That is huge for us because we are smart DMO. So we use data for everything. We don't make decisions without looking at the data, analyzing the data. We actually have a market intelligence manager and that department that focuses on curating and analyzing data, hugely important for us. So we have data on everything. We could tell what our numbers are going to look like in December. We could tell what our air capacity is looking like already in December, what the searches have been like for us for the entire year, where the searches are coming from.
Wow, it's that detailed and predictive.
Yes. And how the searches convert into bookings. So when Mr. Embert was doing the budget and he spoke about how great our tourism is doing, I was like, show me the data. I don't want to hear. I want to hear the numbers, because that is the air, that is the game, that is where we play. We play numbers. So we could tell we could tell our numbers, and we could then plan. We could see which markets are softening, which markets are not. We could tell where searches are very high, but it doesn't convert into bookings. And so we know
what is working, what is not working.
Well, look at how the shadow minister of tourism done taking notes from you this morning to challenge this budget.
No, but it's actually fascinating, and you can tell that you're excited about what you're learning about how modern day tourism and how modern day marketing of destinations is done using data analytics, because I mean that's where you can't if it's one thing you can't fight is data.
Yes.
Although someone told us recently that facts are subjective, but
facts are subjective.
Yeah, we live in a world where facts are subjective, but data is data, right? And you can't make proper decisions and plan strategies without knowing what you're doing. You can't shoot in the dark. This is not an industry you can shoot in the dark. You really have to know.
So let me put you in a comfortable position. I know you're very happy in your job there, and when somebody decides,
you can see it.
I saw Laura on television and radio this morning, heard her on radio this morning, and I think she's a vital asset. I'm going to bring her back to apply what she's learned in Turks and Caicos to help us improve our tourism product and our tourism drive in Trinidad. What are the top 3 things you would do? Free expertise.
The top things to do on tourism in Trinidad?
Top 3 things you would change.
I would bring Tobago and Trinidad back together. That's one. For sure.
That's a very good point. That's a point.
I would bring us back together. I don't like the separate marketing thing. I find it divisive and political. I would definitely implement a very, very strong, after doing all the groundwork and what the message is and what I want to sell, I would develop a very strong marketing campaign and slogan. And I would sell it to Trinidadians and Tobagonians first. It starts at home. I would implement a local tourism campaign first, because we need to get everybody on board. It doesn't make sense us going out there and telling people come, and when they reach here, Trinidadians don't know what's going on. And I will also implement a similar program to the Tides, because there are a lot of Trinidadians and Tobagonians who do not know our country. A lot. You have to know your country. You can't sell your country if you don't know it. You have to know the country. So those are the things I would do.
All right, what about the Airlift history? Because I attended a conference some years ago, and I hosted, moderated a panel some years ago, and there was the association from the Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO. I don't know if you're in communication with them, that if Airlift was more affordable in the region, we wouldn't need non-CARICOM or non-regional tourists to drive all the islands in the Caribbean successfully.
We still need them because they have money, and they will spend. But yes, listen. Inter-Caribbean travel it's way too expensive, and it is hampering accessibility, not even just for Caribbean people, but even the foreigners. Because a lot of people's impression of the Caribbean is that they could come to one island and just happily hop, skip, and jump to every other island, and then they get to the Caribbean and realize they can't do that, right? Unless you work a cluster of islands and try to do it that way. But yeah, it's too high, and that honestly is the governments of the Caribbean have to decide what they really want. The main issue has been the airport taxes. A lot of countries, people are reluctant to cut those taxes because they use it. A lot of islands use those taxes for infrastructure development and different things. But those airport taxes are pretty high. So if that comes down, maybe. The thing is, we have so many airlines, regional airlines operating in the Caribbean. It's not just CAL. I flew the other day on Cayman Airways for the first time. Really good service. There's Arajet out of DR. There's Caicos Airways here. There's Inter-Caribbean. Liat is back. Bahamas Air. There's so many airlines operating in Caribbean right now. But
how many land in Trinidad and Tobago that states you? They land where you are, but they don't land here.
No, and that's the thing. I don't know if maybe it's too expensive. I don't know if they're not getting any permission. I don't know if they applied. I know Inter-Caribbean had applied. I saw an article about that to fly to Trinidad, to come into Trinidad. But I don't know what
Cal is very protective of these shows. Laura Dowrich, congratulations on your amazing work. Your insight is quite very, very intriguing this morning. I hope
very interesting conversation.
Very much
really,
so.
the authorities, Minister Mitchell and whoever else needs to be listening to this, because I think you have a lot to offer. I ain't saying you're leaving where you are because you're in the big money. Just saying.
Let me just say, I've covered travel in addition to entertainment. Well, I covered travel and tourism for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So this was actually one of my passions. So to be actually working in it full time is amazing, and I absolutely love it.
I've always heard the name Laura Dowrich Phillips, but I've never had the pleasure of speaking to you or anything like that.
Same with us. It's good to meet you finally.
And the thing about Laura, because I know Laura, and tell me if this helped you a lot, because you were trained in the UK in digital media, not so?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that aspect of your training, I'm sure, brings to bear how you're able to navigate the data-driven world and to market in the digital world success. Because I know that training in the UK that you did helped you a lot.
Yes, my class was actually first class ever to do online media. And that was in the height of, that was 1999. That was in the height of the dot-com boom. So we were the very first class ever to do online media. We were learning to build websites using HTML coding and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I actually worked for a travel startup in London at the time, doing.
You were a child student.
you see, and that's
bless your heart.
I'm glad that she has the experience in Turks and Caicos, but when we talk about the expertise and the talent we have in Trinidad and Tobago, sometimes just goes outside because they get better opportunities.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And couldn't you see Laura in the Ministry of Tourism making a significant difference? I can.
I would love to. But you know what? This experience is very invaluable for me. Being able to operate at this level in the tourism industry, it's really been. I mean, I knew the industry before, but the year that I've been here, I've learned so much more. It's been amazing. But I would love to come back to Trinidad and do this at home.
Hint.
Randall Mitchell, are you listening?
Thanks for being with us this morning. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm curious though, before you go, Miss Dowrich Phillips. The only other person I know with that surname Dowrich is a Bajan, a guy who plays cricket in Barbados. Yeah, I don't know that name other than that.
My grandfather was Bajan, and so yes, I'm related to those Dowriches, but I don't know him.
Okay, all right. Yeah. All right. Thanks for clearing
a grapevine kind of thing.
Have a great Beyonce, Drake, Kardashian weekend.
What about PDD? He ever come there?
I don't know.
Good answer.
Move away from the Diddy.
Move
away from the Diddy. Laura, thanks. Have a great weekend.
All the best to you. Take care.
All right,